Hey y'all, Auntie Ashley of the Clinical Cookout here, and today is Friendly Neighborhood Therapist Friday. So this week our theme has been relationships, so y'all already know I'm coming as your Friendly Neighborhood Couples Therapist. So let's get into it. I know we have focused on romantic relationships this week, but I want to acknowledge the fact that there are far more relationships in our life, and romantic relationships are not the pinnacle of relationships. I am very adamant that people have a strong support system or tribe, collective that they can count on and depend on, and that shows them affirmation and love. I know y'all probably saying, well, it's easy for you to say that because you're married. I wasn't always. I have been single. And I swear by having a strong support system and tribe. We need sisterhoods, we need brotherhoods, we need tribes that embrace us and show us and give us all the things that we need in life to be fulfilled. And that does not only come from romantic relationships. In fact, sometimes it does not come from our romantic relationship. So you absolutely need other relationships in your life to be fulfilled and have mental wellness. And just one other thing, because Auntie Keish happened to say it on her TikTok, the idea that someone who is single, their voice or opinion is less valid in these discussions about relationships, pure BS. Because one, in Auntie Keisha's case especially, she has the education and research and all these things to back what she's saying. So yes, her information is absolutely valuable. And next, even if you don't have all of that, you've been in a relationship before and you have experience. Experience trumps education sometimes. And if you have experience, then what you have to say is valid. I will fully admit I used to be one of those people where somebody single or divorced could not give me any advice or information. And it is pure foolishness. Because sometimes those people have a whole different lens that you wouldn't even consider because you are partnered and you need different perspectives. So everybody's opinion, thoughts, whatever holds value. You decide what you take and what you leave. Now, with that, I want to talk to y'all real quick about two things. First up is how intersectionality, identity, and oppression literally affects our relationship choices. So one book that I have consistently used is this book by Dr. Tammy Nelson called Integrative and Sex Couples Therapy, a therapist's guide to new and innovative approaches. And I love this book because it does consider so much that the field of couples therapy, marriage therapy, sex therapy has not considered for generations. It teaches us as therapists how to be competent, multiculturally competent therapists in these arenas. So with that being said, our identity or our intersectionality is the different identities that we have that cross, and oppression, just societal oppression, systemic oppression, literally has an effect on how we partner, who we choose, decisions we make romantically and sexually. The questions that I'm about to ask will give you an idea of how race, gender, socioeconomic status, sexual identity, and so on and so forth, other intersections, impact how you feel about yourself, as well as relationally and sexually when it comes to decision making in partnerships. One, how do you identify along racial, gender, and socioeconomic lines? So example, I am a Black, cisgender, heterosexual woman who is, I guess, considered middle class. Two, how do those identities impact to whom you are attracted romantically? So how does your identity impact who you're attracted to? Now, you can be attracted to anyone, but ultimately we have preferences. And this is why you hear some Black women say, I only want to be partnered with a Black man. And with that being said, research done in 2009 by Adams and colleagues showed that most people would pick within their own group. However, they are open to interracial relationships because what choice do we really have? Next question. What messages did you learn growing up about race as it relates to sexuality? What messages did you learn growing up about gender as it may relate to sexuality? What messages did you learn growing up about socioeconomic status? Example, money and education as it relates to sexuality. Now that one is an interesting one because research done by the Kinsey Institute showed that most women in the 40s, 50s, 60s early 60s, were only attending college to find a mate. The education was secondary. So women going to college just to find a suitable husband was a whole thing. And honestly, it's still a whole thing. It's still a thing for some women. And depending on your race and cultural background, you are taught different things about what you need to be doing to find a partner that is suitable for you socioeconomically. How have your identities impacted courtship and intimacy? So if you are a Black woman, or if you are a disabled man or woman, or if you are transgender, if you are bisexual, how has all of the identities that you hold, how have they affected courtship and intimacy for you, or dating and intimacy? How have your identities influenced sexual functioning or dysfunction? How have your identities impacted your history of relationship, breakup, or divorce? How do your identities influence your sexual fantasies? Do you fantasize about people similar to you or who reflect your experiences? How is power exercised in your relationship? How do you express a sense of feeling validated or affirmed? Now, real quick before I hop into the second thing I wanted to tell y'all today, I want to focus on that part about how does power impact your relationships. We live in a society where we know that power dynamics exist within all types of relationships, but specifically in romantic relationships, they often relate to our value system and how we grew up, religious beliefs, morals, all these things impact how we view power dynamics within a relationship. So I just wanted to read y'all a little quick piece out of here on that, and then we'll go to the second part. Power is rarely distributed equally in relationships because of its fluid nature. Even in romantic relationships, the partnership is never equal because one partner may systemically enjoy unearned advantage or conferred dominance. Now, in this westernized, heavily Christianized society that we live in, who do you think often has that unearned advantage or conferred dominance? And just to point out, it's not just about race or gender. It can also be about being able bodied. If you are an able bodied individual and you are partnered with someone who is disabled, unfortunately, you don't know what their experience is like. And that can cause issues within the relationship because you don't understand them. And you can't really consider, or you don't really consider, the physical challenges that they may have even during intimacy. You might, but oftentimes if you are not in an experience, you don't have firsthand knowledge of what it feels like or what that person is going through. Now, I want to end on a happier note. So the second thing that I want to talk to y'all about is relationship green flags. We always talking about relationship red flags, but I want to talk to y'all about the green flags you should be looking for in your relationships. A lot of these green flags should be in any close bond relationship that you have. Just a disclaimer, every relationship is unique, and therefore how affection or appreciation is shown in one relationship may look different from another, yet both of these relationships work. But the green flags I'm about to tell you, healthy relationships tend to be alike in many ways, and these green flags should be a part of any healthy relationship. Appreciation. You respect and value your partner and express gratitude often. Balance. You find happiness in time spent together and apart because some needs are met outside of the relationship, like through friends, career, hobbies, etc. You understand that you two have separate lives even though you are together. Commitment. You are invested in your partner and the relationship and you give it adequate time and energy. Basically, it is prioritized. Commonality. You share important goals, beliefs, and values with your partner. Effective communication. Y'all always know communication is key. You communicate your own needs and wishes while respecting those of your partner. Healthy conflict resolution. You take responsibility for your actions and you work together to solve problems. Empathy. You acknowledge your partner's perspective and understand their feelings even if you do not always agree. Honesty. Your actions align with your words and your thoughts and feelings that you express are genuine. Independence. You have your own interests and goals separate from your partner. Intimacy. You feel close and connected with your partner, both physically and emotionally. Please understand that intimacy is not just sex. It is not just physical. There are about 12 different types of intimacy that are all important to a healthy relationship. Safety. You respect your partner's boundaries. Whether you agree with them, understand them, like them, you respect their boundaries. And you feel safe physically, intellectually, meaning you feel safe to express your thoughts and opinions, and you feel safe emotionally, meaning you feel safe to express your feelings. Last but not least, self-confidence. You can be your authentic self in your relationship. So that's all I got for y'all. I hope y'all learned something. Please assess whether these green flags are showing up in your relationship and not just your romantic relationship. I will reiterate, romantic relationships and marriage are not the pinnacle of relationships or life. They are important. They are a milestone. They may be a goal. They are not the pinnacle of life. And I hope y'all have a beautiful, wonderful weekend, and I will holler at y'all later.